welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Pack or Pass, where I go through my books and decide if they are worth bringing to Kent with me. My name is Hannah, and actually this one is a bit of a given. If you can't see behind me, I have been sorting through my books and rearranging them, and I have found that my romances and contemporary hardbacks are pretty much a gimme. As in, they fit perfectly on my shelves as is. So I'm essentially going to go through my adult romances, my YA romances, and my YA contemporaries as they fit so brilliantly on these shelves already. Some of these are books that I've read, some of these are books that I have on my TBR, but they fit perfectly. And I don't know what wizardry it was that managed that, but considering I move in 3 days, that is essential. So let's go through them. The first two on my shelf are It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is a romance duology by an author that I fully intend to pick more books up of. I don't know why I haven't, because it's been 2-3 years since I've read anything by Tessa Bailey, and I gave this one a start because people who enjoy Tessa Bailey don't rank these very high on like her best work or anything, so I feel like I've got room for growth. But I actually really enjoyed both of these. I really enjoyed the summery vibe of them. I liked that it was like a grumpy sunshine romance and a kind of friends to lovers romance, and it just, the writing just worked for me. I felt like the sense of humour was very much my take on humour, so really enjoyed that. Whilst I'm very aware that this collection is going to grow and thus outgrow this shelf, for now it doesn't. For now it fits very nicely. Another romance duology that I've got is The Worst Best Man and The Wedding Crasher by Mia Souza. This is a really fun Latinx romance where the bride in the first one is left at the altar by her husband-to-be, which is really embarrassing for her, especially because she's a wedding planner. And then cut to 3 years later, she has to work with his brother, who she blames for her being left at the altar, and it's a whole thing. And then the sequel is about friends of theirs and her cousin, and they're very sweet. They do have some spice, but they are spicy rather than, they're more steamy actually than smutty, but really fun, really cute romances, so they get to stay. Then I have the trilogy, and I'm not sure if a fourth book is coming out of these, but I haven't read the third one yet. So we have Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Santanto, who you might know as Jessie Q Santanto, who does thrillers. This is a very silly comedy with romance at the core and weddings, etc. And I don't want to spoil too much because I feel like there's a lot that go on in these books, but fundamentally in the first one, Maddie gets set up on a date by her mum, the date goes terribly, and her date ends up dead, and then she has to ask her aunts to help her with all of that, but then other things happen and it just goes from bad to worse, and very funny, very silly. Like I said, I haven't read the third one, but I am really looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm pretty sure there's a fourth one coming out, but please don't hold me to that because I may have just completely made that up. But all three fit on this shelf, and I love that for me. Okay, next I have Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Now I do currently have Act Your Age, Eve Brown on my TBR, but it's not currently on this shelf because it's currently in my TBR trolley. And you might say, Hannah, that is a cruel and malicious workaround and a little bit sneaky and a little bit naughty, and you'd be absolutely correct. Love Talia Hibbert's writing. Will have to find space for Act Your Age, Eve Brown on my shelves somewhere. But that's a problem for another day, because I'm packing my TBR trolley another day. It's not today's problem. Speaking of another series that I didn't need to start but wanted to, did this as an audiobook. Really enjoyed it. It was £4 in Tesco's and I couldn't resist. I don't need it. It will probably the first to go when I do need space, but then equally, what if I just continued with the series? What if I did one every Christmas and treated myself to the next one every Christmas? This is OG Spice. This is before Bridgerton. This is before Katie Roberts. This is before all of the authors that we know and love for their spice and steam now. Jilly Cooper was the one doing it for people. I mean, the book just goes on and on and on. Like, you can see how massive this is. Tiny writing. Okay, like this. You didn't need to frighten me. It just goes on and on and on. But I'm keeping it because it fits and I kind of want to continue the series. So I am fully expecting you to judge me. But if you could not, that would also be great. I have many books by Ali Hazelwood. I won't go into all of them, but you should know that I've only read these 2. And if you're like, Hannah, you're missing one, you are correct. It's currently in my TBR trolley. Otherwise that also would not fit. But it's in my TBR trolley, so it doesn't count and therefore fits. I really enjoy Ali Hazelwood's style of writing. Again, it's her sense of humour that I really enjoy. I find her characters both interesting and wholesome. I like that there's a lot of rep, whether it's neurodivergence or physical disability. And I really like that it's just started as a Kylo and Rey fanfic and just spiraled from there. I love that for her. Unlike Cassandra Clare, I don't want Ali Hazelwood to ever take a sabbatical because I keep buying her books. Have I read them as they come out? No. Do I have every intention of catching up? No. I'm just going to keep buying them and getting to them eventually. But we have The Very Secret Society for Regular Witches, which was gifted to me by my sister-in-law Deanna for my birthday 1,000 years ago. So thank you, Deanna. There is space for this on my shelf and that makes me very, very happy. I have Sally Thorne's Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match, which is where the daughter of Dr. Frankenstein makes herself a boyfriend, I think. I know that the Hating Game went down really, really well. Like, people love that, and I have that as an audiobook, but I've never read anything by Sally Thorne, so I'm quite excited to get to this one. I know nothing other than it's talked about in positive ways in the circles that I frequent, so we'll take that. I have Partners in Crime by Alicia Ray. Now, I have tried the first 3 chapters of this and I did really enjoy this. And essentially, it is about a woman who goes on a date with a guy and the date does not go particularly well, but then she's forced to work with him because of something. And then she gets caught up in a jewellery heist and he's dragged along with her and then they fall in love. And it just sounds like a fun, ridiculous concept that I'm here for. The writing style was gentle and fun, and I'm quite looking forward to getting to this one. But it's very much a summer read, except every summer, by the time it actually gets to me reading summer reads, I'm too hot to bother. So it needs prioritising. I need to do some kind of like romance readathon where I go through maybe just all of Pyatkas, every Pyatkas book I've got, and I read them. And you read them with me, because I need you to hold me accountable. I have book 1 and 3. 1 because it was gifted, and 3 because it was on offer. It was like £3. Don't have 2, but these are sapphic romances by Ashley Herring Blake. So it's always good to have variety. You may have noticed a lot of very heteronormative romances thus far. It's good to have some sapphic on there. Never a bad plan to have some sapphic romances. These are 2 that I've unhauled from people by completely different authors, but I just wanted to lump them in together because I unhauled them from people. So I have The Love Interest that I know nothing about other than it's a romance with superheroes. And I have My Roommate is a Vampire, which I had 2 copies gifted to me. And then I forgot those 2 copies were gifted to me and got an unhauled copy from someone else. So I've unhauled 2 copies of this already. But one was a gifted one and they know. And one was the one that I hauled. So this is technically from both Becca and my sister-in-law Deanna, so thank you both. 2 more romances that I know next to nothing about, except, again, the atmosphere just felt right. Then I have Hooked, which is potentially the steamiest one that I've got, in that it could potentially be full-on smut. I'm not sure I'm going to like this, but it fits, so I don't have to pass on it. If I were going to pass on any, apropos of nothing, this would be the first to go. I'm not a massive fan of Peter Pan. This is giving Peter Pan vibes. If it's a romance with pirates, I might be more involved. You can tell I've not read the synopsis, right? Like, you can tell that someone unhauled this to me and I just went, everyone else is reading it, so I guess I'll give it a go. But I don't care one way or another if I enjoy this. So that's where we're at, mentally and physically. And then the rest of these are all indie published books, which is lovely. I have more indie published romances than any other genre. So we have The Unseelie Prince by Catherine Ann Kingsley. This was gifted to me by somebody and the slip has fallen out. I have a suspicion it's either Olivia or Hannah. I feel like it's Olivia, but we know what that's going to be about. I also have The Power of Hades, which was gifted to me by Sophie. So thank you, Sophie, for this. I keep meaning to get to it and I just don't prioritise it. I'm really sorry about that, but it fits on my shelf, so I'm taking it to Kent with me. And then these two were gifted to me by two different people, but they're by the same author. So Laura Jordan is an author in her own right, but you probably know her, if you know her, through her TikToks about her fiance Derek Landy, who we know is a massive hero of mine. I love his writing. I met them both when I went to his signing and they were amazing, so I immediately put her books on my wish list, and they were granted to me by Olivia and I think Becca? No, Olivia and Deanna. Deanna again. Deanna just fueling my romance. So thank you very much. So those are my adult ones, and I like I said, like they literally fit beautifully. And then for my YA, which I'm just going to put in front so that you can see them, we have the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. Now I know, the only thing I will say about this is it annoys me that I've got the original covers for 2 out of 3 and then the Netflix cover. That is the only thing that irks me about that. I have every intention of rereading those books because I just enjoy them. As a YA romance trope, I just think it's great. I think they're really fun. One you probably won't have heard of is The Kissing Club by Julia Clark. Now, how do I talk about The Kissing Club? The Kissing Club, this is a book that I read when I was a teenager, and it's about a young girl who, in the opening chapter, goes to a church club with her friend who is like very, very religious, and they're all asked to spit into a cup and then pass it to someone and ask that person to drink it. And basically it's a way of being like, if you wouldn't want to drink this much of that person's spit, then you shouldn't be kissing them, because that's how much spit you swallow of theirs. And it's like really disgusting, and it puts everyone off being even remotely open with discussing sex in a really unhealthy way. And it kind of comes back to bite her in the butt later when in chapter 2 she's pregnant. And obviously time has passed, like it's not just like one after the other. But it's how she deals with her teenage pregnancy. And I've not read many books that even look at teenage pregnancy, let alone from the perspective of the main character. So I really want to reread this because I really enjoyed it. And I think it's going to break my heart. So I'm really intrigued to pick that one up again. We obviously have my Elizabeth Acevedo YA collection, which are beautiful contemporaries with romance subplots. So obviously they're coming with me. Like, that was a given. They were never not coming with me. We have one of my newer reads, which is The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. It still has my TBR prompt on the back. The only time this is going to be a problem is when I need to find space for the sequel, because I have pre-ordered the sequel and I'm very much looking forward to reading it. A skinny one that I have, because it's one of the quick reads, is Countess Carty Williams' Notting Hill Carnival, A West Side Story. It's essentially Romeo and Juliet, but set during Notting Hill Carnival. I don't know why I kept trying to say Nottingham Carnival. It's not the same thing. But that's a really, really interesting YA contemporary with a romantic subplot. I would argue that the romantic plot, whilst is a catalyst, is more of a subplot, because their love story is more prevalent than the romance. Does that make sense? Then we have Pride, which is the BIPOC Pride and Prejudice retelling by Ibiza Boy. I also have Punching the Air by Ibiza Boy. So even though it is technically not a romance, it is a YA contemporary, so it is staying on this shelf. I am keeping both of those because I love a novel in verse, and I love this book. This book made me cry, and I feel like I need more novels of verse that are like this, and then I can have a whole shelf of those as a whole collection. That is aspirational for me. I have The Love Curse of Melody McIntyre. Now I do have the hardback somewhere, because I unhauled it from Becca and I don't know where it is, but I have it somewhere. I have it somewhere. In the meantime, I have the paperback, which was gifted to me by Olivia, so thank you, Olivia. I have the entire Alice Oseman paperback collection. I also have her graphic novels, but they are for a different shelf. As you can see, unopened. Still shiny. She can still spin it. Like, it just makes me so happy that it does that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop doing that. But I've been doing them as audiobooks and not actually opening them, but I will open them at some point. I have The Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe, which is a historical YA romance, and again, sapphic and beautiful and sad and poignant and just a whole moment. Loved that. I have The Girls I've Been Before, which I have read, and I also have The Girl in Question, which is more of a YA thriller, but I had loads of space on the shelf, so they went over here as well. Along the same lines, I have How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. Now, I haven't read this one yet. This is on my TBR. And I'm pretty sure this was gifted to me by Abby. So thank you very much, Abby, for gifting this to me. I don't remember anything about it. It's been on my TBR for so long and on my wish list even longer that I don't remember what is in the actual synopsis. I just remember that I wanted to read it. We have Dear Martin, which obviously I said I have that, and I have Nick Stone's Odd One Out. I need to get Dear Justice, and then there's a third one that's in yellow, and I can't remember what it is, but I need all of those. I need all of those. Great contemporaries. Really, really highly recommend those contemporaries. I've got When I Was the Greatest and Oxygen Mask by Jason Reynolds, which I really need to read. These are some more BIPOC contemporaries. I don't know if you've noticed, I tend to only read BIPOC or LGBT contemporaries. Unless the main character is neurodivergent or dealing with something else, I don't tend to read white contemporaries because I'm kind of over those stories. I feel like there's still more that I can get out of contemporaries where they are looking at oppression and it's from an own voices author. I get more out of that than just white guilt and white issues and white non-problems. It just feels a bit whiny now. I need something a bit more substance, and I get that from BIPOC ones, which is why there's so many BIPOC authors on my shelf. Then I have Rapunzel, Don't Touch My Hair by Ellie McLeod. This is another contemporary about a girl who works at a salon, but I think she gets assaulted essentially. I think someone grabs her hair and it becomes a whole thing. So really looking forward to that one. I have Not So Pure and Simple, which is another one about, I think, Christianity and purity pledges. So maybe that and The Kissing Club become like a whole vlog moment. Who knows? I have realised that other than a couple of romances, this is the only white contemporary that I have. I have This Time Will Be Different, which is again one that I'm not that fussed about, but I have space for it, so I'm keeping. I don't remember what it's about, I have it, so I'll keep it. I have Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. What have I read by Tiffany D. Jackson? You Should See Me in a Crown, I think, is by them, and I really enjoyed that. So when someone was unhauling this, and I thought, that's an author that I like. And that was it. That's as far as I got to understanding what this book was about. And then my last two are my two contemporary romances set at a boys-only fencing school because I love the graphic novel and I need to read these. Again, maybe I just need to do a read-along so that you guys can read them with me and hold me accountable. But as you can see, another perfect fit. Romance is a gimme, apparently. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy romances, otherwise why are you still here? Did you get any good recommendations from this list? Are there any books on here that you're like, Hannah, please just read that already? Like, why have you still got that on your TBR? If you just want to let me know that you were here, feel free to leave a little love heart of some description in the comments down below. Treat yourself to something from Waypoint because it supports me and my content. Check out the links down below because I have a Patreon now. And most importantly, have a nice day.